Okay, so in this video I want to introduce the issue of suspense accounts, correction of accounting and bookkeeping errors. So this is a topic that tends to be viewed as quite challenging by students, and the reason for this is in the grey text here, correction of accounting and bookkeeping errors. So the scenario is that you're presented with a series of accounting transactions which have been incorrectly processed, either in the ledgers or in the day books or somewhere in between. And your task is to identify what went wrong and fix any errors that need fixing. So as you can imagine, this is a little bit like trying to read the mind of a person. You're trying to get inside the head of the person who made the error and understand the nature of that error, and then undo any incorrect accounting or bookkeeping errors. So it's a pretty challenging task because there's such a variety of potential errors out there that it's not like some of the early first year accounting tasks that tend to be quite structured and quite procedure driven. This can be quite a difficult challenge in the context of suspense accounts. So just a little bit of revision. We're talking about the accounting process and potential errors in the accounting process. So in this first slide, I just want to revise some issues that you dealt with in the previous semester, just to demonstrate the sequence of events that occurs in a typical accounting process. So any business is going to have sales and purchases, receipts and payments, and these things have to be recorded in the day books. So there's a step in the accounting process, and remember, you could conceivably make an error at either of these stages. A transaction might be incorrectly entered on an invoice, or it might be incorrectly entered into the day books. After they're entered in the day books, you enter individual values into the personal ledgers. So these were the ledgers for the individual companies that you trade with, your suppliers, your customers, and they had the company name or the supplier name. So you might have had an account for Smith Limited or Murphy Limited or ESB Limited. So they're kind of personal name-based ledgers. You could, of course, make errors in the personal ledgers. Then you posted daybook totals to the nominal ledger. So the nominal ledger, this is your assets, your liabilities, your income items, your expense items, capital and drawings. And you should recall from the previous semester that this process entails debiting and crediting the nominal ledger with daybook totals. So each of the different day books, the sales day book, the purchase day book, the receipts day book, the payments day book, has their own posting rules. And once you posted the totals correctly and the totals themselves were correctly added up, you did everything correctly. So after the posting to the nominal ledger, you used to balance the ledgers, and again that was just getting the closing balance at the end of the period. And in theory, you would then prepare a trial balance. You may remember this, you should remember this from the previous semester. That's just a list of every single nominal ledger with its closing balance. And just to look at a trial balance, okay, you should recall that this is the sort of thing a trial balance looks like. So it's a list of all the ledgers. So you've got your assets, you've got your liabilities, you've got capital and drawings, income items and expense items. And the balances are slotted into either the debit column or the credit column. And as it says here, if everything has been done correctly, the trial balance columns totals should be equal. Now we have a problem here. You can see that we've got 44,500 against 51,500. That's not what we expect. We don't know which is right, maybe neither is right, but in any event, it's a problem that needs to be addressed. And that's where suspense accounts come in. We would need to identify what went wrong and fix it. So the big reasons why a trial balance may not balance are as illustrated here. So first of all, you could have something wrong in your debits and credits. So there could be totals incorrectly added up, or there could be values not posted. Maybe you did all the debits for the sales day book, but you forgot to do the credits, or maybe you incorrectly added up one of the columns in a day book and the total was incorrect. So if debits don't equal credits, you've got yourself a trial balance that won't balance. And if you added up the ledger balances incorrectly, so say you're balancing the sales account and you added up one column incorrectly, that would mean that your closing balance is likely to be incorrect. So you could have the closing balance for sales entered in your trial balance incorrectly. And a rather silly error would be if you put, say, an asset value. Okay, remember, asset value should go on the debit side of the trial balance, but if you put it by chance on the wrong side, put it on the credit side, that would of course cause your trial balance not to match. So what we need to do is, as a temporary measure, we create a suspense account just to make the trial balance. So in a sense, it's a fudge item. It simply is inserted to make that trial balance. We've got the same total values on both sides. Now, of course, that doesn't really solve anything in the long term. This suspense represents errors, and we need, of course, to get solving those errors and getting rid of that suspense. And that's where this part of the module will be heading.